Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the last Halloween true crime video. This one is short and sweet but absolutely horrifying. So quick disclaimer, this is a very graphic case. It's definitely the most graphic one I've ever done. If that is not for you, watch a different one from this week. Watch a vlog, watch something a little bit lighthearted. This one might not be for you. Also, comment down below if you have watched like any of my other true crime videos from this week. Like, I think that'd be really interesting, like, to see if anyone's like watching more than one. Today we are going to be talking about a really famous case in Poland about a girl named Katarzyna Zowada, and I apologize if I pronounce the stuff in this case wrong. Katarzyna was a 23-year-old college student. She was a bit of a loner. She spent a lot of the time just by herself. She would go to class by herself. She would spend weekends inside and not really going out and doing anything. She didn't really have a lot of friends and she just wasn't super social. There actually really isn't a date that she went missing due to this. So on November 12th of 1998, Katarzyna was supposed to be going to a doctor's appointment with her mom, and she struggled with depression and a lot of other mental health issues. This doctor's appointment was because of that. So her mom was really concerned when she didn't show up. She thought that maybe something had happened to her, that maybe she had done something to herself, and she was really concerned. Now, like I said before, she was a bit of a loner and she hadn't been going to class for 2 weeks. So I don't know if she could have been missing for those 2 weeks. I don't know if she was just not going to class because her mental health was bad. I'm really not sure, but there isn't an exact date that she went missing. So when she didn't end up showing for this doctor's appointment, her mother did report her missing. Oh, another quick thing I want to preface is there's not a lot of information on this case because it is foreign. So a lot of this stuff is in Polish. A lot of this stuff just hasn't been put out there. So there is no information from the time that she went missing to the time that her body was found. So in January of 1999, so only a couple months later, there was this tugboat operator and something had gotten stuck in his propeller. So he went over to check it and he figured it was just, you know, a branch, maybe some debris that had fallen off another boat. But when he got over to look at it, he said that it was super foul smelling, and that it was pale and kind of looked like a pouch or like a sack of something. So he was a little bit creeped out by this, but again, like, you're in the water, like, it could have just been some weird dead animal, until he saw what looked like a human ear on this sack. So obviously this concerned him. He called the police. When the police retrieved the body, they identified from the DNA that this body did belong to Katarzyna. Now, the very disturbing thing about this case is this wasn't actually her body, it was just her skin. The unsub had completely skinned her. It was all of her skin minus her face, except for the one ear that the tugboat operator identified the fact it was body, and both of her arms. So the rest of her skin was intact and it looked like it had been made to be worn as like a suit. Forensics had ruled that the body had been in the water for about 2 to 3 weeks. They could tell just by her skin that she had been tortured before she had been killed. So along with the skin, they actually found parts of her sweater in this area and one of her legs. So the police actually originally thought that this might have been a copycat of the Silence of the Lambs films, and they were really concerned that this unsub was going to strike again. So they were doing everything in their power to find whoever was responsible for this. And they weren't really coming up with any leads. Everything was pretty much a dead end until on May 31st, an elderly man called the police station and said that there was a body in his basement and he believed that his grandson had killed it. So clearly the police were extremely concerned by this phone call. They went to the house. They had found a middle-aged man dead in the basement. He had been completely skinned. His face was sewn on to a mask. And this body actually belonged to the son of the man who had called in, the father of the suspected murderer. So the boy who had killed this man was named Vladimir W. And like I said, it was his son. I don't really know why you can't find his last name. I'm going to assume it's just for confidentiality purposes, confidential purposes. But he basically, his excuse was that he just really hated his dad. And his grandfather had pretty bad eyesight, and Vladimir had worn the mask that he had made from his dad's face for an entire day, dressed up like his dad, trying to convince his grandfather that he was still alive, which is just so eerie. So clearly they put two and two together, and he now became a suspect in Katarzyna's case. In Poland at the time, there had only been 3 murders who had had skinning involved with them: Katarzyna, this elderly man, and then a man who had just kind of went off the deep end and had a psychotic break and ended up killing his wife and his daughter and skinning them. This man was ruled out from Katarzyna's case, so Vladimir was obviously the top suspect. So then in 2000, they actually ended up being able to retrieve some DNA from Katarzyna's body, and they cross-referenced it with all of the suspects, including Vladimir, and everything came up empty. There was an FBI representative actually in Europe at this time, and they ended up creating a psychological profile for this murderer, and they said he most likely had training in some type of martial arts, probably knew Katarzyna, revisited the body, and had a history of harassing women. So the case kind of just went cold after here. They didn't have any leads, they had nowhere to go, and it wasn't until 2012 that they had come up to another piece of evidence. They actually found a plant on a part of Katarzyna's sweater that they thought could pinpoint where the murder had taken place. This has not been released to the public, to my knowledge, though, what plant this was. So then because of this, they ended up reopening the case. So then in 2017, an arrest was made. Robert J. Krakow was a very religious man and ended up actually confessing to a priest of his crimes. Robert lived extremely close to where her body was found and fit all of the key parts of the profile. He had a history of assaulting women, he revisited the body, he knew Katarzyna, I'm not sure how, and he had training in a certain type of martial arts. And I think I forgot to mention why they knew that, and it was because of the torture that had been done to her body. So there is not a whole lot of information on Robert. Obviously, this did not happen that long ago. He was only arrested 3 years ago. I don't believe he has confessed. He has said no reason of why he did this. He hasn't really made any public statements to my knowledge. And he actually hasn't even been on trial yet. So this is technically not even a solved case. I guess maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know the standard in Poland, like innocent till proven guilty. Maybe he is considered guilty there. I'm not really sure. But he's basically right now just doing everything in his power to get the date pushed back for his court date. Then went on to say that the prison guards were harassing him, and I think he ended up getting his prison switched, which pushed that, like, everything little itty bitty has just been pushing back the court date. And I do want to say, I think you guys probably know where I stand on prison guards and how you kind of, when you're in that much power, you can let that take control over you. But for cases like this one, like, I understand, not that I agree with it, but I kind of understand why they get aggressive and why they harass the inmates. Like, I could not imagine having to be around some middle-aged, like, gross, slimy man who had skinned a 23-year-old girl. Like, I can't even imagine. But yes, like I said, he has not been on trial yet for this, so I have no idea what kind of sentencing he will get. And all of this was actually released in September, so hopefully we will have an update soon, and I will definitely let you guys know if I hear anything about this case. But that is all the information I have. Like I said, it's really short case. There's not a whole lot of information on it, but I do just want to give a really big thank you to you guys for watching this video. And if you have watched any of my other true crime videos this week, it really does not go without appreciation from me. Most of my true crimes get pretty low views, and then they end up like racking them up as they are on YouTube for longer. But the one that I posted yesterday, I didn't even promote on my Instagram, which is where I'm gonna guess that I get a lot of my views from, and it actually got, I think, more than the rest of them did. It definitely did within that amount of time. So if you watch my videos, I just want to say, like, a really big thank you to you. I definitely got burnt out with this. It takes a lot of time to research and film these videos and edit them, and along with school, like I was really just pushing myself to get them all up. As you guys can see, I filmed this on Halloween and it's going up on Halloween. So I do just want to say a really, really big thank you to watching them. After this, I will be back with some more lighthearted videos. But yes, that's it. I don't know, I feel like this is like an end of an era. I'm so dramatic, but thank you again for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, you guys.